gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble!
What's going on, everybody? This is the Gorilla Man, and you are listening to the Gorilla Man podcast. Today's show, we're going to do something a little different. I've been talking a lot about Miami Dolphins football, but I am a Dolphins fan. That is more towards me. So today's show, I'm going to do something a little different. Not too long ago, I was watching, I believe it was ESPN or NFL Network, and they did a segment on sports science, and they did references to the Stickem, which Jerry Rice said that he had used way back when he played for the 49ers, and the gloves that the NFL players use today. This study is actually pretty interesting if you look at it. What they did is they had this kind of community college football program or whatever. They didn't really release the name or whatever of the kids that were playing on it. But what they did was they would play a full game on offense. So the first two quarters, they were allowed 25 snaps per quarter, or 25 throws, I should say, with Stickem on their hands. The wide receivers and tight ends and even running backs would have Stickem on their hands for basically 50 plays in the first two quarters. And then in the second half, they were to put on the gloves that the NFL players use today. So they did the first half, and out of 50 balls, they dropped 11. Now, these weren't overthrown, these weren't, batted down or anything like that. These were all very well and easily caught footballs. And the kids flat out dropped them. So, thinking, okay, that's the few that they dropped or whatever. So they dropped 11 total out of the 50. So they went ahead and moved along to the second half, and they used the gloves that the football players use today in the NFL. And I'm wondering if any of you are probably thinking, well, how many? I'm just kind of wondering, how many do you think that they dropped wearing these gloves? 2. 2 out of 50 balls were dropped. Now, they did all the elements of, they basically had rain-making machines, they had snow-making machines, they did everything. So, they had their hands wet, everything was legit, and the kids weren't, trying to drop the ball that were wearing Stickem. Everybody tried catching the ball. So when they put on the gloves and they only dropped 2, the 2 that were dropped was because they were overthrown or the receiver had fallen down before the ball got there because of the elements. That was more of a cleat issue. So those 2 really, I don't even know if you want to count them. I mean, you have to, but and necessarily just kind of put it up and that's what you get. So you have 11 with Stickem that you dropped and 2 with the gloves. Now you come and tell me that using Stickem is considered cheating, but these gloves that these phenomenal wide receivers and tight ends and even running backs have that catch these balls and do unbelievable things, all these unbelievable catches like the Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, who's to say that glove those gloves didn't make him. Because had he not been wearing those gloves, it probably would have just flopped off his hand and fell in the end zone. He would have never had a touchdown anyways. I'm not saying he wouldn't have caught it, but I'm just saying. A lot of Patriot fans have been critiquing on 49er pass about Jerry Rice admitting that he used Stickem and stuff. And yes, that was an unfair advantage, and yes, that is cheating. I am not condoning that. But what I'm trying to get at is if Stickem, which is illegal, and these gloves that are not illegal have a higher consistency of catching a ball because the material that is made on it is so, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a freaking magnet to metal. It's unbelievable. So, I mean, who's to really say who is cheating who when it comes to that? Some people may disagree with that, but others, you have to at least see it from that point of view. I mean, you always hear Patriot fans talking about, oh, I guess you don't want to believe science and all this blah blah bullshit crap. But that's their opinion on certain things. But as most fans see it this way, those gloves do add up to be an unfair advantage to a certain extent. Now, if the NFL were to ban these gloves that the players use, who's to say we may go back to a running league, whereas we're now in a passing league compared to anything that we used to do back in the day when the Marinos in Montana and Elway and the list goes down the line, Warren Moon, everybody. Those guys, they had to rely on a running game more because they didn't have the dynamic receivers. Unlike, Montana had Jerry Rice, but he didn't have him for the first two Super Bowls that a lot of teams and a lot of players tend to forget, or a lot of fans, I should say. But it's kind of ironic that people claim that the 49ers were cheating, but yet then again, these gloves are made so good that it's damn near the same thing as using Stickem, if not worse, because you can use it in the weather elements. The rain does not affect its ability or does not affect your ability to catch the ball. It's unreal, some of the stuff. I do have a pair that I have on hand, and it's pretty high-tech crap. I mean, the rubber consistency is it's unreal. I know it's kind of weird talking about this stuff, but the fact of the matter is, these fans or whatever want to talk about cheating and whatever else you have it, then I guess science has proven that these gloves are considered cheating, and that's my opinion. Other news, we got to learn more about Tom Brady's appeal, that Roger Goodell is pretty much not going to go for anything, that Tom Brady is pretty much going to be serving his 4-game suspension, which is good. Honestly, I think he's getting off light. I think he should be getting a full season of suspension, and basically Bill Belichick should be suspended too for the whole season. I mean, not knowing what's going on in your own locker room was considered basically being ignorant, or I don't know what the word they use for Sean Payton when he said he had no idea that Bountygate was going on, and ignorance or whatever is basically what happened in that situation. You're supposed to know at all times what's going on behind closed doors, and you can't tell me that Bill Belichick does not know what's going on and who set up all these, these utility guys or the ball boys or whatever you want to call them to go in there and basically cheat for the Patriots that they've been doing for the last 15 god-awful years. Yeah, I'm a Dolphins fan, and I may sound like a bitter fan, but the fact of the matter is, when a team like that has an unfair advantage over everybody else, it gets a little tiring sometimes, and it gets old, quite frankly. If you can win a Super Bowl without any controversy, do it the right way all the time, then maybe I can have a little respect for your franchise and your team. But I can't find a single thing good that I could say about that team. One, their fans are probably the biggest morons I've ever met in my life. Besides a few, there's surprisingly a few out there that are pretty decent and down to earth and not all like the rest of the bandwagon fans. But that's the kind of main topic of today's show. Besides the Stickem and the gloves and stuff, it's basically teams that cheat and stuff. And I'm sure a lot of Patriot fans are going to be like, "Oh, you need to go to yourteamcheats.com." Well, you do realize that website was created by a Patriots fan who basically just mumbled up a bunch of crap that has no relevance or basically has no leg to stand on when it comes to any terms of today. The Patriots have been getting caught cheating red-handed for the last 15 years. Now, most teams, the team that they like to refer to a lot to is the Broncos, and they got in trouble for the fact that they it was basically salary cap gate or whatever they call it, buying a team, they're paying for their players or whatever and whatnot. But what team doesn't do that? It just they're full of excuses. It gets kind of old after a while. It's kind of pathetic, in my opinion. But some of these Patriot fans, they amuse me to the point where I'm just like, are you serious? You guys seriously think that Tom Brady is the GOAT or the best quarterback that has ever lived? I mean, obviously these kids have not been around long enough. It's the same bullshit that you get when you hear LeBron James fans talking shit about Michael Jordan and saying LeBron James is the best basketball player to ever live, and Michael Jordan is nowhere near as good as LeBron James, or that LeBron James could beat Michael Jordan in one-on-one or whatever it may be. It's those same ignorant moron fans that have never experienced the real true players from back in the day, because like the majority of their fan base, they were all born probably in the mid-90s and were pretty much born into a winning championship team. They didn't get to go through the rough years like I have been since I've been born. We won back-to-back world championships and our NFL Super Bowl champions. 1972, perfect season, never been broken. The best team in the NFL forever until somebody could break that record and prove us wrong or whatever.